sons. Madam Speaker, we on this side have an additional connection in the sense that his father, Honorable David Corr, is a former chairman of the People's National Party, former member of parliament, former minister of finance, and deputy prime minister, as has been said. And I want in that context to also convey our condolences formally in this setting to the family of Cat Corr. Cat Corr was a consummate musician, a very versatile musician. He was best known, of course, as a lead guitarist, but he was also a virtuoso on the cello. I've seen a recording of him playing Nassum Dorma with A.J. Brown singing that famous Italian song, which was a theme song for the Italia '90 World Cup. But he was also a great songwriter and was responsible for either individually or collaboratively penning and writing numerous songs for Third World over the years, many of which became household hits. And he was a good singer. There are songs that he sang for Third World, certainly verses that he sang as effectively a lead singer, but very good with harmonies as well. So we're talking about someone who took the music, Jamaican popular music, to another level. And Third World was always very experimental. That was what was so exciting about them. You know, not only their music, and their music was always very experimental. Fusion, from roots reggae through to dancehall, fusions with jazz, fusions with R&B and soul, classical aspects to their music and so on. They were unique, and are, I would say, because I don't know what the future will bring, but up to the present, you know, there have been several iterations of Third World, but Cat has been in each iteration, from when Prilly Hamilton was the original vocalist, I believe, through to the period of Ruggs. Ruggs was really perhaps the lead singer most associated with the sound of Third World. Into more recent times, I think A.J. Brown has been singing for them, and of course, he's a great singer as well. So that versatility was also combined with live performances that brought a new level of creativity to concert performances. You may remember things like Explanitations. I was too young at the time to be permitted to attend and watch those shows, but friends of mine in the community that I grew up in on the university campus on College Common attended, and it was always described as a phenomenal experience, the way in which the concept album was taken into the concept performance and brought a unique dispensation to how Jamaican popular music, and reggae in particular, could be portrayed live. As has been said, Third World has produced some of the genre's classics, and sometimes those classics were written and performed exclusively by Third World. Sometimes there were collaborations with some great international artists. And the respect that they carried was recognized across the globe. They were an international outfit and had international respect. On a personal level, I knew Cat fairly well. He was a lover of cricket, as am I, and there are many occasions when I would buck him up at Sabina Park to watch Test cricket, and we would sometimes sit beside each other and have good conversations about cricket, but also about music and the culture. He is a revered figure in Jamaican popular culture because the tenure of his career is so long. As has been said, he started when he was 12 or 13 and continued for perhaps 50, 60 decades, years, 50, 60 years, 5 or 6 decades, as a leading light. And many of us have had the honor of and joy of watching him perform in various fora, whether it be on the stage at Reggae Sunsplash year after year, or in other venues, indoors and so on, including his proficiency on the cello. I last saw and embraced and spoke with Kat 2 days before his passing. Yes, because I was at the funeral for one of our former members and senators, Wickham McNeil's mother, who was a former councillor too, I believe, of the QNN division. And Kat attended the funeral. And after, when we were leaving the church, it was at University Chapel, so the last time I saw him was there, he and I encountered and we had a brief but very pleasant chat saying we must get together and talk. That wasn't to be, but I feel very privileged that I had that final encounter with him, and it was such a pleasant sharing, albeit brief. So Jamaica has lost one of its great musicians, one of its great cultural ambassadors, and someone who any of us who knew him personally would feel we were very lucky to have had the opportunity to share those personal experiences with him. Condolences again to his family, his children, and all we can say, may his soul rest in peace. What good, my brethren.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. We're live on Portland Spice TV. Yes, man. Share up the channel. Shoot the link to somebody right away. Boom, bang. Let somebody else know that the best discussion on governance in Jamaica is on the radio. It's on YouTube right now. Top discussion about governance. Not politics. Politics is a sideshow. Governance is what is important. We have been trying our best to get some of the ministers on this show to answer the critical questions because we are not afraid to ask the questions that needs to be asked. But we zoom in on an interview that was done this morning with the Minister of Labour, Pernell Charles Jr. And I think it's important that we listen to what the minister had to say and listen to a mainstream media journalist or broadcaster interviewing the minister. So we want to go to that interview right now.
quite a while, and then unfortunately for us, we have been having all sort of weather conditions. So imagine the poor people in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth and other parts of Jamaica bearing this cold now without a roof over their heads. Let's start there. The distributions have begun. I noted that you did say that you wanted to start at the end of January. Give us an update.
So let's put it in context. The roofs that we're discussing today is one element of 6 elements that come under the government's shelter recovery program. And that shelter recovery program is a large umbrella program that's dealing with all of the issues in terms of restoration and response based on the impact of Melissa. So it includes roofs, which is a cash grant portion where you're giving cash to people based on their categorization. So if you are impacted and you get assessed and verified, then you get placed in one of the 3 categories: minor, major, or severe, if you have any damage, and you get your 75, you get your 200 or your 500,000, depending. Now, that is one element. That's the roofs element, which is restoration of owner-occupant family shelter. But you have 5 other elements that are treating with support. One is a government-led repair where the government, through JDF and through the international community that's coming to help, Rwanda, Ghana, Guyana, they are building a roof. They provide the material, the labor, everything, and they are repairing roofs. The second is the partner-led, where you have organizations like Food for the Poor or Global Empowerment Mission working with us to do the same thing in terms of repairing roofs. The fourth is through NHT, where NHT has started from about, I think it's late December, early January, to provide similar cash grants up to $500,000 for persons who have been impacted and who are categorized. And more than 6,000 persons have received these grants through NHT. And if you receive the NHT, then you won't receive the roofs. Okay? The next one is the rapidly modular solution. This is the containers that are coming to provide a full housing solution for persons who are vulnerable and who have lost everything. And the last one, as needed, is relocation and regularization. So when you ask the question as to, has the government started? We started even before January. We started to give out grants. We started to repair roofs. We started to provide support in many, many different ways. And this portion, we made a commitment that the roofs program, which is the big now $10 billion flagship program, we made a commitment to start that before the end of January, and we were able to start the disbursement one day before the end of January. And so throughout the entire February, we're going to continue to verify, disperse, so that as many persons as possible can get their grant. And there are 2 principles that are used to identify who will get it first. Number 1 is we prioritize severity, which means we're trying to give the persons who are in the worst situation first. And number 2, we target vulnerability, which means whether you are minor, major, or severe, if you are a senior citizen or a person with disability, then that impact is going to be amplified. So we look on the severity and we look on the vulnerability and we overlap that with the data that we have to make sure that we are targeting the persons first who are most greatly impacted and the most vulnerable.
Let me follow up on that. Those 2 points raise another important point. The modular housing solutions, the February deadline, we're now in February. Give us an update as to that based on the severity and the vulnerability, because of course I take it based on what you have said that those 2 categories will be benefiting the most from the modular housing solutions.
Yes. So they're on their way. As you know, it takes time. We have made the order and they are in transit to come to Jamaica. I don't know the specific date that's coming through MEGJID, but I believe they'll be here pretty soon. And in the interim, of course, you know that there are still persons who are at our shelters, and we are actually advancing now discussions for some interim solutions to move people out of the shelter into a more suitable interim residential space until we're able to provide the modular solutions and also to provide some of the social housing solutions, because you know our social housing program, everybody has seen our Prime Minister going around the country giving people these concrete houses, really well-built houses, as part of the social housing program. So that program is the program that the modular solutions will be distributed through, and they will also be tapping into some of their homes to provide to people who have been impacted by Melissa as well.
Why is it taking so long, Minister, regarding the temporary housing solution regarding moving persons from shelters? We have heard this for a number of weeks now.
It's not taking too long. I mean, if you put into context what we are doing in Jamaica, we are at a world-leading pace. So we would not be correct at all to say that we are taking too long. They're just, our reality is that we were just hit by a Category 5 hurricane. Other countries have taken 3 years, 4 years. We are doing it in 3 months. So I wouldn't agree that we're taking long. I agree that everybody who is out of a home now is in a frustrating situation. But this government has worked assiduously, fast, and effectively in making sure that they are in a safe space. We're providing an interim solution, and we're providing a permanent solution. So, and majority, I'd say 90% or more of the persons who were in shelters are out of shelters now, and either with family or in a solution based on the support that they're getting from government and also from other stakeholders. It's not just us. Many churches, many charities, many individuals have stepped up and provided support. In my custos in Clarendon, 1 week, 2 weeks after the hurricane, she was providing full housing solutions to persons. About 4 or 5 of them got housing solutions. So
that's an important
we have been
point.
very, very fast. Hello?
That's an important point, Minister. Let me add, you remember I indicated that there are two things flowing from the points you raised about severity and vulnerability. The ministry and the government, you have gone back after the assessments to get the data, for example, to know persons, to know the real need in terms of the severity and vulnerability. What I'm really asking you, of course, some persons could not wait on the government and they would have gotten assistance from other private individuals. Do we know to date the exact number of persons who are in this severity and vulnerable position?
Yes, we have exact numbers. We have a form which is called the JH DINA form, Jamaica Household Impact Needs Damage Assessment form, which we use when we go out and do our assessments, and it allows for us to collect that data and to be able to update it and to analyze it very, very effectively. So we know exactly how many people are in exactly what situation. We know who has been assisted by churches, by individuals. We know who has been assisted by government. And we use those protocols, again, to determine who will get the help first, who will get it second, who will get it third.
All right. Let's take the break and then we come back to continue the discussion. Stay with us, listening. Discussion now, and we're speaking with the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr. Now, Minister, just before the break, we touched on several items, including the good news that the disbursements have begun regarding the government's program ROOF, the restoration of owner or occupant family shelters. There are, of course, concerns and will always be concerns regarding oversight and accountability. Just tell us quickly what are, and I want you to zero in, Minister. I know that there's a multiple channel announced by the Ministry for beneficiaries, but we're particularly interested in the gaps that were corrected following other programs, Beryl and others, to prevent persons from exploiting the program.
Excellent question, Kemoy. Let me tell you, we learned a lot of lessons from things that we did well and things that we didn't do so well in Beryl. And it is because of that we moved away from the paper-based system that we were using to do the assessments, and we are now firmly utilizing a much more upgraded, modernized, digitized system that allows for us to have the real-time uploading of the information, in addition to pictures of the house that is relevant to the assessment, and GPS location as well. So what it does is it adds another layer of monitoring and verification. It makes us have transparent criteria in terms of the damage categorization, because in Beryl, for instance, when somebody went out, they could determine whether it is, minor or major or severe. There was nothing there to show if you would agree. You understand? So in this one, a verifier can go back and look on the pictures and say, well, I disagree or I agree. Additionally, the payment modality that we're using is modernized. So it's not the same old checks that we used to do. Now we're using for the major and the severe a digital format, a digital payment modality that allows us to have management of the system, Kemoy. So if I give you a voucher using that system and you go out to the hardware will see Kemoy Makekron on your ID. They will attach it to that QR code, and I will be able to know exactly when and what you purchased, and I'll be able to have an expiration date on the QR code, anything we need to make sure that we have management and we can monitor it. Because remember, there's a portion of this money, particularly for the major and the severe, that has to go to repair of the home. The $75,000 for the minor and $75,000 out of the major and severe is for rehabilitation. You can use that as you wish, but the rest of it must go to repair. And so that's why we use the digital format for that portion, so that we can know exactly how the money is being used and we can monitor that.
Yes, certainly. And we hope to see that system will indeed improve. Tell us briefly about we know that the payments you have indicated have begun in January, you said. Tell us about how that is rolling out.
Well, I'm very, very pleased. I mean, I want to just take the time to really acknowledge the team, the leadership team, those on the ground. They're working hard. I tell you, Kemoy, they're working hard. And this is the same team that has been out since burial. And now they're out again in Melissa, and they've been working hard. Yes, there are things that we have to improve on. But when we give them the deadlines, people are up 2 a.m., 12 midnight, just to make sure that we can provide, what we say, we can achieve those commitments. And very, very happy to know that we're able to have 1,234 persons receive their direct deposit on the 30th of January. Another 50 who received their QR code with their 500,000 on that same day. And then another 20 who received their prepaid cards uploaded with their money. So it really means that when we say we're going to do something at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, and this is the government of Jamaica, we work as hard as possible to make sure that we get it done. Our goal now is to make sure that we don't just stop there. We are pushing to ensure that we get out this money to as many as possible. And we're not just focusing on the roofs program, which is the money. We're focusing on all of the other elements, because it is a comprehensive shelter recovery program which doesn't start and stop just with the roofs. It includes all of the various aspects. So the ministry is working with JDF, ADPEM, Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. We work with all of our stakeholders to make sure that we push through the tape and get as much support, as many roofs done as possible, as much money dispersed as possible, and as much support as possible to the persons who need it the most.
The ministry, of course, is going to be using its communication means, including GIS, regarding public education of the distribution. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, I tell you something. We had this conversation this morning. One of the difficulties when you are very busy in a ministry is that sometimes the communication ball gets dropped. And we spoke about it this morning, the need for us to sort of stop, step back if needed, and try to project more. And the effort is being put in. A lot of releases were done yesterday. That's why I'm on the radio now, actually. I'm on the radio now because of the efforts of our PR team, who are working assiduously to see that we can get the message out as much as possible. So thank you to you and to the Power 106 family, who are always pulling for me to come on and spread the message. And yes, we have to get it out much more through GIS, and we will be doing that in a very consistent and deliberate way to make sure that everybody understands what to do, and they understand that if, let me say this now, if you are listening to me, if you can hear me, and you or your family member or your friend were impacted by the hurricane and you are not yet assessed, and you wonder, so what about me? We're trying to close this off within the next 2 weeks. So don't waste any time.
All right. Minister,
go and self-report or get the information to us so we can arrange an assessment right now.
I'm going to ask you a question that maybe is directly to the Minister of Information, but you're a cabinet minister, so there's collective responsibilities. I'm still going to ask you, what's the update regarding the monies which were donated, particularly through the website? There were some issues in terms of working out the arrangement for that. Are you able to say?
I'm not able to say. I don't know of any issue, and that would be better left for the minister who's in charge of that.
All right. Let me ask you about something else now. The persons who had died during the bodies, remember we had some challenges regarding that. Do you have information regarding how that is going, and particularly whether your ministry will be assisting with burials or funeral grants outside of the regular program that exists every day?
Well, we are a ministry of conscience, and even without burial, if persons come to us with unique circumstances, we do give some additional support. And of course, a lot of that is based on the discretion that we use. You know, our motto is no one left behind, and we try to remember people, particularly in the worst times when they do need the help. So yes, if we are approached with situations that fit the criteria and are relevant, we will give some additional support. And we have been doing so. And it's not just because of Hurricane Melissa. We do that 24 hours, 365 days a year. And I have to tell people, you know, sometimes people think that the ministry kicks in during Melissa. We are on the ball out there in communities, even when there's no Melissa. It's just that it is heightened and amplified work being done, and people are looking at it. So this is what we do every day around the year. We're going to continue to do that.
Yes. Is the number finalized now in terms of the number of persons who died in in Melissa rather? Do you know, and whether the government will be considering doing a memorial or something for the victims of Melissa?
A good idea. No, I don't have that information. That would be ADPEM that perhaps would have that information. So you'd have to speak to ADPEM about that. But I wanted to say something to you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
As you said, the numbers, I should give you the updated number for the assessments that have now been done in the country. And I can tell you, it's the first time that I'll mention this number is now. On my dashboard, I'm seeing 89,308 assessments completed. And that does not include, I think, about 100 assessments that we have left in Trelawney to switch over from paper to digital. So basically you can say we're at 89,500, which means that we're basically finished the assessment. We're now just in the final stage of mopping up those persons who were missed or who were not at home or who we didn't reach for one reason or the other. That's why I'm saying it's very important, Kemoy, that even when I come off of this call, you have to remind the persons, if you did not get assessed, don't quarrel, take action. Go and self-report. Go onto our website and self-report. Go to the parish office and let them know. Call us and let us know so that you don't get left behind. We're going to close off these assessments very soon. I don't want a situation where we close off the assessments and we have persons quarreling that they weren't assessed. So please help us to spread the message. Get yourself assessed so that you can benefit from the shelter recovery program.
And finally, on that point, there are certain vulnerable, let's call them vulnerable people. I'm sure the ministry, well, let me not say I'm sure. Let me ask, the ministry was able to reach, for example, those elderly persons, those other persons who don't have access to technology, won't be able to move around to ensure that everybody is captured in the assessment?
Yes, we were. As a matter of fact, of the 1,234 persons who received that direct deposit,
yeah, man, him finish. I think it cut right there, so. But before I say anything more, the man said the assessment is finished, almost finished. Listen to this.
Welcome back, continuing the news. Persons who have identified themselves as volunteers with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security are describing the program to assess damage to households affected by Hurricane Melissa as ad hoc and disorganized. The volunteers have raised concerns about the integrity of the assessment process, pointing to instances where the work of different teams has overlapped in some areas. They say this duplication has created confusion and raised questions about the accuracy and coordination of the damage assessments. Kirk Wright has the details.
The volunteers have complained about what they describe as scant regard shown to them by managers of the program at the Labour Ministry in Kingston, adding that poor communication and a lack of clear direction have hampered their efforts.
We are basically like victims of Melissa. We are attending to people who were victims of Melissa, and to see the devastation that they face, and we too on the ground are facing this devastation.
They claim in one instance, a program administrator largely dismissed their attempts to register their dissatisfaction with how they were being treated.
The powers that be, the coordinators and the persons in the office, they don't care zero about volunteers, to the point that I heard that one of the managers in the office blurted out, "Them a volunteer." So because you are volunteering, any old thing goes. You don't sign anything to say if you are damaged or anything, they will be compensated, they will take care of your medical bills. Nothing.
The individuals questioned the expectation that they should complete the task in a timely manner when many hours are passed before they're assigned their daily duties. They say they've had to traverse hilly and sometimes treacherous terrain to reach the affected household in the boiling sun with not even a first aid kit.
Persons have been working in the different areas for months, since November, and they were only given a little snack bag in the morning, and they were given a bottle of Gatorade, and they were given you're given some small cool water to drink. You don't get any protective gear. We were told that we were given some type of things to identify us, vest to wear. That never happened. When rain is falling, we have to be out there in the rain. We have to mash up one of shoes we have to wear and mash up. The amount of people lose them clothes and shoes since them start doing volunteering, it's unbelievable, because they don't give you nothing at all to equip you to do the job that you are doing. Some of the people in the country, they're used to, they're kind of living here. But when they tell you, okay, there's another house around the corner or down the road there, so when they're telling you that it's actually 1 mile or 2 miles that you have to go to another household or another family, and we are traveling right around different communities.
While the program nears its end, they say the number of volunteers have dwindled significantly because of what they refer to as inhumane conditions they're forced to work under. They say reports that the parish of St. Anne has been properly assessed is in question because repeated trips to attend to that parish were cancelled. They say for the program to be wrapped up at month end is senseless because its disorganized nature has led to many of the affected areas not being visited by them. When contacted, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security said it's preparing a response. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
So, here's my problem now with the interviewer. And that news clip, TVJ, Power 106, are all members of the RGR Gleaner Communication Group. So, my problem with the interviewer, this clip that I just played, nothing from that was put to the minister. You had the minister on the program. Your company carried this newscast saying that the volunteers are complaining bitterly. And you know, ask the minister nothing about that. Nothing that the minister said was challenged. The minister said that 3 months is not too long. I'm comfortable that we operate at first world standard. Now, Minister, I want to have a talk with you. And I'm going to send you a message shortly. I have a number for him. I'm going to send him a message. Because as I've been saying to you on this channel, that we are sending out the invites to the program. Let them not come. Let it not be said that we did not invite them. Because we have an audience and they want to get out information. So we are confident that we have an adequate audience that would love to hear from the government ministers. And for the minister to be saying that he's comfortable, after 3 months, people still are living at them care. The minister is comfortable with that. I wonder about your love for humanity and the feelings that you have for your fellow human being. It's not that the government don't have money. It's not that the government don't have the wherewithal to assist. In fact, I heard the president of the JTA, Jamaica Teachers Association, today saying that teachers are still living in their cars. Teachers who have been affected by Hurricane Melissa. But the Minister of Labour saying that they are comfortable, that they are working at a good pace. 876-804-7072. You heard the Minister of Labour. Are you all comfortable with what you heard coming from the Minister of Labour? Madam Producer, you see, if we are not our brother's keeper, if we don't care about our brother them are fear, there's going to come a time when nobody don't care about us either. Yeah? There's going to become that time when nobody shows us any compassion and people just leave we to suffer because we are leaving people to suffer. And because we are right, we have roof over our head, dry bed to sleep in, we grill up, so we're not business about nobody else. It's not enough. That is not enough. We're getting off at 7 o'clock this evening. Yes, we are going to be joined by Caribbean Radio, 97.9 HD4. Going to be joined by them later on at about 6 o'clock Jamaica time. I will share the same time with the people in Florida at this time. But I am very disappointed in that interview with the Minister of Labour. Very, very disappointed. And I really want to know how he would feel without a roof over your head for 3 months. And you're measuring it by what other countries have done. Jamaica is a great country, you know. It's a great country. We have set standards in many things. Whole heap of thing we set the standard, you know. So to be looking at low standard and want to measure yourself with that, it says to me that our leaders not just lack vision, but lack standards. And as we've been saying from the other day, that the Prime Minister said him not have no philosophy. So anything goes. There is no clear path that the leadership is taking us to. We are still a great country with great people. Just that we are going through a stage where we lack leadership, where we lack compassion. Our leaders, rather, lacks compassion for the people of the nation. Now, some reports have been coming to me about barrels on the wharf. People who have sent barrels to assist people. And we also hear the wharf people or the port authorities, they are calling for people to come get them barrels. But a brethren of mine called me from Saturday morning. And, you know, sometimes people call me about some things. And if the Almighty don't allow me to talk about them at the time, I don't talk about them. Because I don't force to talk about things that I don't get the freedom to speak. Because I trust in the Lord Jesus Christ and I ask him to guide my path. And that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in his sight. And once it is acceptable in the sight of Jesus Christ, I don't care who vex, you know. That's how I operate from day one. And people also tell me, people sometimes tell me that, Shaka, if you just relax, you know, and not talk certain things, life would be so much easier for you. And I said to one virgin at one time, so would life be easy also for the people who are suffering, for the people who have no voice, who I speak on their behalf, would they be all right? And the man said, well, you worry about people, worry about yourself. Said to him, that's not my life. I am concerned about people. The producer also said to me the other day that I must stop worrying about Portland because we were traveling and I was looking at some stuff and saying to her, you know, these are some stuff that Port Antonio should be doing. Some of these things we should be seeing them in Port Antonio. And that Port Antonio and Portland lack the kind of leadership that should push for these things to happen. And she said, man, relax yourself and stop worrying about Portland. Stop worrying about Jamaica. But because them now worry about themselves. Context matters. Yes, she said because the people them now worry about themselves and the people them not see where they need that kind of leadership to push to make things happen. Yes, you say all of that, but I know my life that either. You see, let me tell you something, you know. You have some people where are good on in a hole all when you try to draw them out. They might tell you so they are right, you know. And then they're on the right track. So, leadership is not about having things easy. Then when them say uneasy is the head that wear the crown. Leadership is not about having it easy. Because I know everybody have sense. And I know everybody can see. Some people only believe in things that they can touch. I don't know if you remember the story where the mother who sent off the son to university, sent him in a shine shoes and press shirt and all of that. I think it's Shirley Caesar. No, Reverend VB. Reverend VB. And the youth go to college and get him education and move away from God, and him come home and him said to him, mother, can you see God? And she said, no, son. Can you touch God like how you touch me? And she said, no, son. And him said, when you can tell me how God exists, that you can touch God like how you can touch me, then I will go back to the shine shoes and fine haircut and all of that. The mother went to bed the night and prayed. And the son cried out in agony. And when she rushed in his room, him said, Mom, oh, Mom, it hurts so bad. And she said, what, son? And he said, there's a toothache, Mom. It hurts so bad. And she said to him, the Lord speak to her. And she said to him, son, can you see the toothache? And he said, no, Mom. He said, can you touch the toothache? And she said, no, Mom. But I can feel it moving in me. Hallelujah. And she said to him earlier this evening, you asked me if I can see God or I can touch God. And she let him know that the same way how she feel, how him feel that toothache a walk in him. Yeah? It's the same way she can feel Jesus moving. Well, the version I know in is Reverend VB. Reverend VB have a version of it. I don't know if Terry Thompson is the original. Mr. Bell, we need you to help us in this fight. Trudy, I know that some people have to deal with the fight, while some, even some that will get the help, a fight you who are fight for help them. Because for many years, Port Antonio has been there. And, you know, I have been championing for Port Antonio, and I want to say good evening to Chris Campbell, who, because of the arguments and the things that I have been talking about Port Antonio, Chris Campbell finally get to Port Antonio, coming to Portland, and has fell in love like many people have. Because Portland is such a beautiful place. Such a wonderful place. But let me tell you something. When a man in a nastiness, I don't know, say it nasty, him comfortable. When people are living in poverty and don't know that they can be wealthy, they are comfortable because them say are the best this, no better, no that. Sometimes you have to move out of your comfort zone to see that there is better. Yeah? Leadership is hard, extremely hard. I hope you run again as a counselor. Let me tell you something. I have a vision for Portland and a vision for Jamaica. And I would really love to realize those visions. But when people say to you about calling the people, them don't want it. The people, them don't want it. Or somebody saying Jerry Thomas did a different version. Well, I know the Reverend VB version. That is the one I have in my catalog.
You know, I remember something.
Eh.
I remember when the market burned down.
Yes.
And I remember you and I went to visit.
Come talk, make the people in here where you say, man. Because people, if you are talk, the people want to hear. Go ahead.
Everyone.
No, don't sit down in front of the speaker. You know.
All right, so I know some people really need the help and need you to help them. But I can remember when the market in Port Antonio was burnt down. We were on our way to our REC.
REC, yes.
Right. And we saw the fire. and we stopped and assist. I remember going into the market and taking out a lot of vendors' stuff.
Hold on, nephew.
I remember after we went and visit some of the vendors who were at the Neville and Tony Park. And you did all you could to help. And I remember one of that same vendor. You remember all the things that the vendor said about you? No, honestly, I am a woman and may look at things different. But I don't say don't help, but sometimes you have to just let go and let God.
God on time.
God on time.
I understand where you're coming from, you know. But as I say, leadership is never easy. And in my life. You know, look like my life come for easy. Nephew, good evening.
How you do, my brother Colin? How is everything, man?
We there take it easy. We are take it
You
easy.
know,
I do the work where God put we have to do.
I listened to your open comment this evening. And I like the things then you say this evening. And I is of the belief that you have so much to contribute to the betterment of this country. And then I listen, you went on like somebody texting to say they will love to see you become counselor one day. Now they say they want you to run back as counselor. But I don't want you to run back. I want you to become counselor and even MP.
I can tell you one thing. If I run again, I'm not going to lose. I can tell you that.
Well, it depends upon where you run. We see
anywhere me run again, me not going to lose. I can't tell you that.
But I'm not going to take away from you that you have not done a lot for your parish. And not only your parish, because when I heard that you even traveled down to Trelawney to assist those who were affected during the hurricane, and not only Trelawney, I think you go down to the other part of the island, you know?
Yeah, man, so, we have gone to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover.
Right.
Maybe at St. James are the only place we're not stopping and do no work per se. But yeah, we did some work.
Right. So I'm saying to you, you hearing me?
Yeah, man, loud and clear. Loud and clear, nephew. Nephew?
I'm listening.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you.
You know, I'm saying that the Vases have done so much for the parish of Portland. And I would love to see you contribute also to what they have done for the parish of Portland, which is also beautiful. They have it to say the most beautifulest parish in Jamaica.
I say that everywhere I go.
Right. But if you are in a vehicle, and the vehicle is not able, Mr. Ben, to take you to your destination, then you need to change that vehicle and get the vehicle which will take you to your destination.
Let me say this to you.
Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree. And we have shown that the vehicle that drives through East Portland is adequate, well oiled, and that's why we broke up the vase. And the vehicle we use liquid the vase out of East Portland. So the vehicle is well oiled and adequate to take me to the destination that I want to go.
Okay, Mr. Bell.
Yeah, man.
I am not going to give up on you.
It is just that some people who are in the vehicle don't want me in the vehicle and still don't want me in there.
Well, look here, Mr. Bell.
But guess what?
Norman
Manley or Michael Manley never will a vehicle give them. So them now make me come out of the vehicle and go up on the next vehicle. Because I now go up on the next vehicle. If it's
Mr.
not the
Bell.
PNP vehicle, it's no vehicle.
Mr. Bell,
Yes, sir.
that does not only happen in the PNP, you know. Even in the GLP, in
I know.
it happening, you know.
Yeah, man.
So don't make that send up your pressure.
No, that can't send up my pressure, nephew.
But
I am a
would
man who
love
believes in God in a nephew. And I also believe in God and time. You think a little money me spending on politics, nephew?
you know, have to tell me,
You
Mr.
think a
Bell,
little?
and other people,
I was still
Mr.
there.
Bell, Mr. Bell, are the people who not spend the money get the problem, you know? You don't know that?
That is true. That is true.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that. But I will love to sit on the GLP political platform and listen to you have the mic in your hand.
What could I say?
Telling jokes.
What could I say on a GLP platform? Tell me. What could I go say on a GLP platform? If I go up on a GLP platform, I would believe that people should have stoned me. With all that I have said before. Yes. If I go up on a GLP platform and tell people vote GLP, I believe they should have stoned me. Never me gone. Later. Later. You see, I am a man of my word. I am a man to my word, you know, nephew. Me's a man to my word. So, later. Nephew thinks that me's a man who just talks on something.
Good afternoon, Colleen.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon.
Honestly, we would have stoned you too.
Of course, they go up on a labor right platform and talk about, what could I be saying? What under the sun could I be saying? Eh?
Well, Nev, you keep trying. I can understand why you bring him on the show. I really do. But I won't go into it.
Nephew, you see?
Colin.
Nephew, hold on. Nephew, like people with
I
vision.
listened to Charles Jr.,
Yes.
Minister of Social.
Minister of Labor and Social Security.
I guess my concern really is two things. The senior citizens, as one would say, who doesn't have the aptitude or the capacity or the wherewithal to call in, get all those things into them. As for that 74-year-old lady that I was watching, I don't recall if it's your show or another. She was under the tarpaulin and she work and buy everything in her life and she no get no help yet. She's still under tarpaulin. Comparing to what this man just said, that he's comfortable.
Yes, sir. Yes,
with
sir.
the affected citizens. Now, remember, we are talking about a third of our countrymen and women who has been affected very bad. They categorize them, yes, because as they said, it's not everybody one gone completely and whatever. That is understandable. And then they started to go out and said, for the 50 we get 500,000, them need to be investigated, as per the Prime Minister. For the 1,200, and you see them come down with it. But then he said they did what, 89,000?
89,308 assessment has been completed. Yes.
Then let's do the ratio and proportion or the percentage. Is that adequate? Should we be comfortable with that kind of behavior? Should we be comfortable? You can put your... You see.
I don't know how Colonel Charles Jr. could be comfortable and saying that there's no problem, the government is doing a good job.
Should I close the call?
Caller?
Yes, Colin. I am concerned to the maximum that this minister just said his government is comfortable with that ratio and proportion figure we calculate are the percentage of that 89,200 and whatever figure that they assessed. Are you comfortable, Colin?
No. Remember, there was a point when the government said it's 150,000 people that they should be doing assessment for, And then the Prime Minister says over 900,000 people affected. But you see, I play that interview also to show you, for you to listen, what the broadcasters in mainstream media, what they are doing. Because if you listen to the interviewer, he has challenged nothing that the minister said. Yeah?
Quote unquote, he uses the word challenge for two very important topics that give Charles Jr. the cue to say, no information for it, or to digress, or to deflect, or to just no answer.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
Almighty God. No, seriously, no. The other one that I had to touch on that you can look into, really, Colin. For those people that he said, he's warning that they're going to be closing the assessment soon. He didn't give a date or a deadline for the closing, but he's giving the warning, a heads up that they will be closing the assessment door soon, and people who doesn't get their assessment done, they shouldn't sit down, they should call into the ministry. What are the mechanisms in place for people who call in about Melissa specifically? Does he has a special phone number for those people?
No, they have
and what should these people leave?
They have an online portal that you can go on and self-report.
But he's telling people to call in, Colin, if you notice, and it's not everybody has that capacity to go online, as we just discussed. It's not everybody has that kind of educator, or as we say, capacity in our talking to go online, or computer savvy then.
But you realize that the interviewer never even questioned that? Him just allow it to slide?
That's me. I said to you, say, you let us get those things, because we're giving you feedbacks to analysis and analyzing what we're listening to. Because you're the advocate,
And that's why I go ahead and play.
You are the advocate, as I have said.
That's why I play the interview.
The advocacy
so
that you
listen.
are put in place.
Go ahead.
The advocacy that you are, the advocate that you are, and the advocacy that you have in place is what is a medium for people who have no voice,
Yes.
And you are being empowered to do this for them on those behalf.
And to give them a voice.
Because we know, said the Jamaican people, me notice since September 3rd, those who sell out, the good suffer for the bad, and those who sell out seems to be them is victimized. The ones that stand firm are being victimized, because majority of those areas are PNP people, that are affected.
Oh, you better know. Yes.
So me just put it in perspective that sometimes our own, them I tell them, say, then vote feet.
Caller?
Yes, Colin. We need your voice, Colin. We need your advocacy to deal with this on their behalf.
All right, caller. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Colin. I'll let you go.
Let me just take time now to welcome Caribbean Radio. 97.9 HD4. Hold on, Marshy. Want to welcome all the people on Caribbean Radio. Bro Gary Radio, big up on yourself. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. We do it every Tuesday right here, coming from the studios of Portland Spice TV. I want to thank Portland Spice TV for using up the studio to do this broadcast on Caribbean Radio. 97.9 HD4. Get new radio, HD radio, high definition radio. Marshy.
Yeah, man.
Well,
let me tell you. Some of them journalists, some of them politicians, so when they go to school, astronaut, them did go to figure learn about.
Astronaut? How will I say? Talk to me. Tell me.
Not for them, I can't sit astronaut, them did that study for, man.
Tell me about that. How that work?
Then when you listen to them, you know, it's a space, then go to school, go take up.
Tell her, Walla, tell her. Let me just say to the people on Caribbean Radio, we played an interview from Pernell Charles Jr. We're going to play some more right so that the people who are joining us on Caribbean Radio can hear what Pernell Charles Jr., who is the Minister of Labor and Social Security. He did an interview on Power 106 this morning, and we played it here, and we're going to play back some heights so that the people on Caribbean Radio can hear it. Continue, Marshy, then take up space at school.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. Listen to the journalist questioning the minister, and listen to the minister answer. You know, to say that the man, my astronaut, the man that study, man. Space then take up, because you can't be an educated person and chat them foolishness there. And a question, man, pure foolishness, man.
Yeah, but you see,
another thing when we notice,
the fourth estate has been failing the country, Marshy.
Yeah, man, we regret to announce the death of journalism in Jamaica. I don't know where them are buried, but journalism is dead so far now.
Yes.
But I noticed a thing. On the Baptist Range watch, how so much entertainer drop out, man?
Lord, man, no blame that pan Babsy. Babsy killed the industry, but Lord, she killed the industry, but I don't think she killed the entertainers.
You know, every week nearly Babsy have to go on up to the and I was them up here tribute to
Cat Core and
Cat Core
and Sly Jumbar.
Where be a cockatoo? Little bit before cockatoo is another. You can't name them.
And then there was Jimmy Cliff.
How could I forget Jimmy Cliff?
Yes,
it's too much. Too much. Like how she did it. If I something good, she take it, you know. If I something bad, she better hug it up to, you know.
Well, we're definitely going to do a program on Reggae Month as well. Somebody's saying R.I.P. to journalism. Lord God.
No.
Lordy.
Exactly so. Journalism is dead. Journalism dead, stone.
No, but when you listen to that interview, I mean, the man, you know, it was so bad that Pernell Charles Jr. talk about the numbers, and him never asked Pernell Charles Jr. what the numbers are, you know. Pernell Charles Jr. had to come at the end and try to give the numbers. I mean, him not pay attention.
Exactly, you know.
You understand?
He coming like this speaker, and I was there when Bunting of here tell him, say, man, to pay attention, no, man.
Pay attention. Yeah, man, when I ask question, may I contribute to a debate.
Yes. And that is gone, you know.
And I don't know if you realize that Mark Golding had to take them to school today again.
Today again, Mr. Dangami, Mr. Mighty God.
No, you know, say I am really worried because there were some people in the chat room at this Mark Golding while Mark Golding was guiding the parliament, you know.
Then well on, man. Well on. Stop going like you don't know. Tell him one labor right where you know we're not done.
No, man. Never not done.
Me don't know which one not done. Believe you me.
Never.
Well, Never would I like to ask. Never say VAS done the VAS them done well for Portland. You remember the housing scheme where they build up over there?
I never
the housing trust house them.
I never even asked Nephew what he's talking about because I am sure that Nephew can show me the good things them we then do.
Well, listen, may I ask you, you come from Portland. You remember the housing scheme where JLP built over there, the VAS?
They're about 7? About 7 housing
How much
schemes.
housing?
About 7 housing scheme VAS bill, man. About 7.
Because I want what the good thing when do how much school?
About 7.
Well, listen to me now.
About 7.
School.
7. In the hospital too, you know. 7. In 7 hospital.
You know, well, listen to bad.
In build some playfield too, about 7.
About 7 again.
Yes.
Remember them done well, you know. Remember them done well.
Yes.
But nephew, the way you say a while ago, you see, when Jesus was on the cross, no, me not play with Jesus, right? But when he was on the cross, he speak in Arabic. I think it is Arabic, Hebrew. Hebrew. Let's speak this one. But at the point of dying, him say, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Just the Eli, man. Nephew.
No,
The Daryl Vaz done nothing, yeah?
No,
Daryl Vaz not done nothing.
No, they ask a question in the chat room. 7.
7.
Yes.
Pure 7.
7.
Pure 7. That Daryl Vaz over there. 7.
Yes, sir.
And in wife could have danced going on.
Oh Lord. The dancing queen.
No,
she
the
was
dancing
a dancing queen.
queen.
Young and green, oh, a dancing queen.
And me still my pet subject. You're like yesterday as a parliament today.
I saw him when he started a tribute to Cat Crow. I never listened.
But in a still long.
Me no know, I never listened.
Because him a run from a question, you know.
Him and Tufton a run from questions.
Yeah, them a run from question.
But you saw the article. You saw the article. Can I have that phone, Madam Producer? You saw the article that about Tufton on Sunday? An article was in the Gleaner.
Gardner Robinson?
Yeah, man.
Gardner Robinson?
Yeah, man. I think he chronicled all the issues that Tufton had. Why no Labour right not challenge? Why no Labour right now want challenge you? Why them afraid to challenge the things that we have?
Them not do it. And as I said, I go and said this before I go. Tufton must not resign.
Why?
Tufton must be fired.
Well,
somebody resign is an honorable thing, you know, Ron. Tufton cannot be allowed to resign. Tufton must be fired. And don't drive on Duke Street because I mustn't pass parliament anymore.
Tufton is the worst minister that Jamaica has ever seen in its history. The worst minister of any ministry.
The worst.
Yeah, man.
Even if we go way back to when they talk about Isaac Barnes, the late Isaac Barnes, because them saying couldn't read, you know. That they say was worse than Bustamante. They have to say Isaac Barnes when him sick in the hospital, them put up something inside of him for him to spit in because him couldn't move. And the sickness bites him look at it and say, what is that? Move it before I spit in it. And that was the purpose. That was the purpose it intended for, you know. But let me tell you. Yes, man. Tufton is the worst. No, nobody can worse than Tufton.
There's no minister in the history of Jamaica worse than Christopher Tufton. Is the worst minister that this country has ever experienced.
And Andrew Wellness skip him there. I remember him did say, him did say Andrew Wellness not like bright people around him, you know.
Yes.
So me don't know how Andrew Wellness I keep him. He must be not bright. Out of here. Later.
All right, Marshy. I want to go back to Minister of Labour. Let's take some of it.
Fortunately for us, we have been having all sorts of weather conditions. So imagine the poor people in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth and other parts of Jamaica bearing this cold now without a roof over there.
Let me apologize for the in this clip, but we have to take it.
I noted that you did say that you wanted to start at the end of January. Give us an update.
So let's put it in context. The roofs that we're discussing today is one element of 6 elements that come under the government's shelter recovery program. And that shelter recovery program is a large umbrella program that's dealing with all of the issues in terms of restoration and response based on the impact of Melissa. So it includes roofs, which is a cash grant portion where you're giving cash to people based on their categorization. So if you are impacted and you get assessed and verified, then you get placed in one of the 3 categories, minor, major, or severe, if you have any damage, and you get your 75, you get your 200 or your 500,000, depending. Now, that is one element. That's the roofs element, which is restoration of owner-occupant family shelter. But you have 5 other elements that are treating with support. One is a government-led repair where the government, through JDF and through the international community that's coming to help Rwanda, Ghana, Guyana, they are building a roof. They provide the material, the labor, everything, and they are repairing roofs. The second is a partner-led, where you have organizations like Food for the Poor or Global Empowerment Mission working with us to do the same thing in terms of repairing roofs. The fourth is through NHT, where NHT has started from about, I think it's late December, early January, to provide similar cash grants up to $500,000 for persons who have been impacted and who are categorized. And more than 6,000 persons have received these grants through NHT. And if you receive the NHT, then you won't receive the roofs. Okay? The next one is the rapidly modular solution. This is the containers that are coming to provide a full housing solution for persons who are vulnerable and who have lost everything. And the last one, as needed, is relocation and regularization. So when you ask the question as to, has the government started? We started even before January. We started to give out grants. We started to repair roofs. We started to provide support in many, many different ways. And this portion, we made a commitment that the roofs program, which is the big now $10 billion flagship program, we made a commitment to start that before the end of January, and we were able to start the disbursement one day before the end of January. And so throughout the entire February, we're going to continue to verify, disperse, so that as many persons as possible can get their grant. And there are two principles that are used to identify who will get it first. Number one is we prioritize severity, which means we're trying to give the persons who are in the worst situation first. And number two, we target vulnerability, which means whether you are minor, major, or severe, if you are a senior citizen or a person with disability, then that impact is going to be amplified. So we look on the severity and we look on the vulnerability and we overlap that with the data that we have to make sure that we are targeting the persons first who are most greatly impacted and the most vulnerable.
Let me follow up on that. Those 2 points raise another important point. The modular housing solutions, the February deadline, we're now in February. Give us an update as to that based on the severity and the vulnerability, because of course I take it based on what you have said that those two categories will be benefiting the most from the modular housing solutions.
Yes. So they're on their way. As you know, it takes time. We have made the order and they are in transit to come to Jamaica. I don't know the specific date that's coming through MEGJID, but I believe they'll be here pretty soon. And in the interim, of course, you know that there are still persons who are at our shelters, and we are actually advancing now discussions for some interim solutions to move people out of the shelter into a more suitable interim residential space until we're able to provide the modular solutions and also to provide some of the social housing solutions, because our social housing program, everybody has seen our Prime Minister going around the country giving people these concrete houses, really well-built houses as part of the social housing program. So that program is the program that the modular solutions will be distributed through, and they will also be tapping into some of their homes to provide to people who have been impacted by Melissa as well.
Why is it taking so long, Minister, regarding the temporary housing solution regarding moving persons from shelters? We have heard this for a number of weeks now.
It's not taking too long. I mean, if you put into context what we are doing in Jamaica, we are at a world-leading pace. So we would not be correct at all to say that we are taking too long. They're just, our reality is that we were just hit by a Category 5 hurricane. Other countries have taken 3 years, 4 years. We are doing it in 3 months. So I wouldn't agree that we're taking long. I agree that, everybody who is out of a home now is in a frustrating situation. But this government has worked assiduously, fast, and effectively in making sure that they are in a safe space. We're providing an interim solution and we're providing a permanent solution. So, and majority, I said 90% or more of the persons who were in shelters are out of shelters now and either with family or in a solution based on the support that they're getting from government and also from other stakeholders. It's not just us. Many churches, many charities, many individuals have stepped up and provided support. In my customers in Clarendon, 1 week, 2 weeks after the hurricane, she was providing full housing solutions to persons. About 4 or 5 of them got housing solutions. So
that's an important
we have been
point.
very, very fast. Hello?
That's an important point, Minister. Let me add, you remember I indicated that there are two things flowing from the points you raised about severity and vulnerability. The ministry and the government, you have gone back after the assessments to get the data, for example, to know persons, to know the real need in terms of the severity and vulnerability. What I'm really asking you, of course, some persons could not wait on the government and they would have gotten assistance from other private individuals. Do we know to date the exact number of persons who are in this severity and vulnerable position?
Yes, we have exact numbers. We have a form which is called the JH Diner form, Jamaica Household Impact Needs Damage Assessment form, which we use when we go out and do our assessments, and it allows for us to collect that data and to be able to update it and to analyze it very, very effectively. So we know exactly how many people are in exactly what situation. We know who has been assisted by churches, by individuals. We know who has been assisted by government. And we use those protocols, again, to determine who will get the help first, who will get it second, who will get it third.
All right. Let's take the break and then we come back to continue the discussion. Stay with us, listening. Discussion now, and we're speaking with the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr. Now, Minister, just before the break, we touched on several items, including the good news that the disbursements have begun regarding the government's program ROOF, the restoration of owner or occupant family shelters. There are, of course, concerns and will always be concerns regarding oversight and accountability. Just tell us quickly what are, and I want you to zero in, Minister. I know that there's a multiple channel announced by the ministry for beneficiaries, but we're particularly interested in the gaps that were corrected following other programs, Beryl and others, to prevent persons from exploiting the program.
Excellent question, Kemoy. Let me tell you, we learned a lot of lessons from things that we did well and things that we didn't do so well in Beryl. And it is because of that we moved away from the paper-based system that we were using to do the assessments. And we are now firmly utilizing a much more upgraded, modernized, digitized system that allows for us to have the real-time uploading of the information in addition to pictures of the house.
So listeners, I'm going to stop it there. I'm not going to take the whole of the interview. But you have heard the minister saying that the government is not really taking too long to help the people. I don't know how people who love people, can accept that. 3 months, going 4 months, you still have people living in cars. And if you don't doubt me, just today, the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association was on Smile Jamaica this morning. Yeah? On Smile Jamaica this morning. Talking about teachers. Now, these are people who have jobs, you know. They're not talking about people who don't have no job. And listen what the president of the JTA said about teachers who have been affected by the hurricane. Listen.
Hurricane Melissa and who applied for financial assistance.
Hold on, let me go back.
Teachers whose properties were damaged during Hurricane Melissa and who applied for financial assistance through the Jamaica Teachers Association should start receiving the payouts next week. Based on data from the Jamaica Teachers Association, up to 2,500 teachers in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland were severely affected by the hurricane. JTA President Mark Malava says the impact varies from loss of houses to roofs to loss of personal belongings. Mr. Malava was asked how the affected teachers were coping while appearing on TVJ's Small Jamaica today.
Not well, not well in many instances. We still have teachers that are living in cars. Huh? I can tell you many horror stories that a number of our teachers have gone through. And in spite of that, they still have to return to the classroom.
And the minister said the government not moving too slow.
For fear, as it is for now.
In a subsequent interview with Radio Jamaica News, Mr. Malava said like other stakeholders in the education sector, many teachers are struggling to rebuild their lives, which is affecting productivity. He says the JTA is committed to assisting the affected teachers to recover.
We are in the process of...
Let me stop.
Distributing...
Stop. Is it that the government is not going to put back people on their feet? Is it that the $500,000 is it done? Is it that the government is leaving people to fend for themselves? So, and who get $75,000, that's it. I want somebody to challenge me. The government wicked. The government is wicked. Pernell Charles Jr., I need to talk to you. I need to talk to Dr. Tufton. The government is wicked. Vex who are vex. $75,000 to a man where lose some zinc. So he must just go kneel down back some zinc. And June, the hurricane season start, them roof will blow off again. Then lucky if they get it 3 months after. You see, if it wasn't for a program like this and some other programs who were bawling out, saying moving slow, you think nothing would happen yet? If I did the labor right vloggers and bloggers them alone and labor right station, you think anybody would have get nothing yet? It is because of us, PortlandspiceTV, place like Partner Draw TV, Conrad O'Brien, Ralston Hyman, Simon Kraskill. You have some more program and some other vloggers and bloggers out there who are saying, no, government have to step up. If I never we, the people them down at West, would have live like bird and pigs and goats, live out a door, because the government need a move. Need a move. They need a move at all. And this man is saying that the government is not moving slow. 3 months is record. Yes, it's record for Uno. Because Uno don't know if we move fast. I want to ask you, Mr. Pernell Charles Jr., what gave you that information that it was 150,000 household that was damaged and then it moved to 90,000? How did you come by that information? What changed? Hallelujah. But you see, there is none so blind more than those who don't want to see. Absolutely none so blind. Wagwan youth. Let me link you there. Hold on. You have some people who don't want no truth. They don't want no truth at all. They just want to talk where them feel like talk and back them party. Them no want no truth. Obi.
Hi, Colin. How you do?
Where are some, my brother?
Yeah, a little bit now, a little while, eh?
Yes,
I'm good.
it's been a while. We just said I listen to Pernell
I'm good.
Charles Jr. I tell McEachran that the government not moving too slow. First world country take 3 years to put their people back in shelter.
And what did McEachran say? Did he push back hard and Charles?
Push back, man. Push back what?
You know, Colin.
One at a time. Hold on. One at a time. Pernell Charles tell him say. I think him ask about if Pernell Charles have the number of people who have been assisted and who needs assistance. And Pernell Charles say yes, him have exact numbers. And the man not even say what those numbers are. Pernell Charles just walk away from that.
You know, Colin, I decided to speak to you this evening for a bit. Because, Colin, there's a couple of things that I want to just agree with you on and say, first of all, let me say I heard MP Angela Brownberg in the House of Representatives, and I want to commend her. I heard her very, very strident, talking about the hypocrisy of the government, and so on, as it relates to a raft of things in terms of people. And she went for the juggler. She actually accused Michelle Charles, and she sounds as if she has some information, she has some receipts here.
Yeah.
She did not say allegation or anything. She said that she sat, right? Well, I don't remember if she called her name, but she said she sat in the house. A member from that child, she sat in the house while she was a U.S. citizen.
Oh, that was last week.
Last week it was. Last week was that. So the tape was playing today.
I thought it was today.
Right? Yes. So, to be honest with you, Colin, it was last week, but the tape was replayed today.
Okay.
Right? So therefore, and she went for the juggler, and I am saying that, is this a dead story? Or should Michelle Charles, the government of Jamaica, or certain the opposition and civil society and the media, isn't there a role for us to play in forcing Michelle Charles to answer to the Jamaican people? Did she sat in the parliament for 5 years, collected taxpayers' money illegally? And what should happen now? Should she be forced to pay back every red cent that she collect as salary in the parliament?
But let me ask you this though. If the PNP knew that Michelle Charles was a dual citizen, sitting in the parliament, and they did nothing about it, then isn't it that they are also complicit?
Well, that's a very good question you're asking, Colin, because I can tell you this. The former member of parliament for Eastern St. Thomas, Dr. Fenton Rudyard Conrad Ferguson, right? I think that's his name. He actually said that he had information that she was there illegally, and he was going to investigate those information to bring it to a conclusion, and certainly he backed off. So I don't know why, Colin, but you ask a very, very germane question there. Because if the PNP really knew that she was indeed a stranger in the house, because that's what she would be, and sat there with her for 5 years, then it begs the question, were they complicit? you did?
How is it though?
The
next question, Obi, is that Rosemary Shaw came here and told us that Michelle Charles spent CDF money after she was removed as member of parliament and provide us with the receipt. Oh, this not come up in the parliament yet. What is happening here?
You see, those are some of the things, Colin. Those are some of the things, Colin. And I tell you something that, you know, I heard you. And I was as livid as you are this afternoon and my program today, Straight Up and Sleek Radio. As a matter of fact, the name of the station has now changed, Colin. It's now Sleek Radio 93 FM.
No longer New Start
Yes,
93 FM. It's now Sleek Radio.
93 FM. And a lot, Sleek, S-L-E-E-K, radio.
Yes.
And yes. So I tell you, Colin, I was as livid as you are in terms of the scenario with our people, Colin. One of my caller spoke with me before I went and here this morning. He's from Northeast Manchester. And he said he just could not sleep last night. Because he said when he reflects on his brothers and sisters who are not in our house. Market, this is man in a comfortable, dry, warm house, you know. But he couldn't sleep because his mind was so occupied because of his brothers and sisters. And the government led by Andrew Michael Holness is just wicked and unconscionable. And Colin, again, I am saying that and anybody can come and say what they want to say. I am not happy with the stridency from the opposition in pushing back on this Holness administration with so much egregious scenario that's taking place. I'm not saying that they don't say anything here.
But Conrad,
that is not how.
Conrad, I hear you.
Yes.
On the opposition, yeah, and I am not disagreeing with you for 1 minute. But how strident are you on the fourth estate that is allowing this government to get away with every God Almighty thing? What happened to the fourth estate that you and I are a part of?
I'm happy that you mentioned that, Colin, and that is what, because when I decided to talk to you, I was about to say, Colin, boy, come in like we are out there like sore thumbs. Because when you look at, for example, and I'm going to call them out, when you look at, for example, a Radio Jamaica, Gleaner Radio Jamaica, RJR group, that control what, about 55–60% of the market, and to me, they are almost deaf and silent coming out of them on these matters, Colin. Right? But at the same time, you have a situation, and don't get me wrong here, right? We want everything to be covered. But you have a situation where Jylan Silvera pled guilty to a lesser charge, manslaughter, and it's all over. They're taking hours and hours and so on, reams of paper to print story on it and all of that. But here is it. People are suffering in Jamaica and there's a deafening silence. And I'm not saying that the Jylan Silvera must not get credit, you know, but we must walk and chew gums. I talk about the Jylan Silvera matter today. As a matter of fact, I raised some question because I was a little bit taken aback yesterday evening when I heard veteran journalist and attorney at law, Dean Jackson Miller, made a comparison with the Vibes Cartel case as it relates to Jylan Silvera in terms of Jylan case being in camera, and to say that cartel case was a case that the public was heard in public. And Diane must know better than that and know that she should not conflict the two matters. She know better than that.
Maybe she missed, maybe she slip up. Maybe she never realized.
No, man, Diane better than that. Cartel case was never a gun case.
But Obi, I want you to just hold a sec for me because my listeners on Caribbean Radio 97.9 HD4 may not have heard the old Jylan Silvera issue. So let me just play a clip for them, giving them a chance to hear what really went down with this case. Hold on.
Former People's National Party Member of Parliament for St. Mary Western, Jolyon Silvera, who pleaded guilty to a lesser offence of manslaughter in connection with the death of his wife, Melissa Silvera, is to return to court on Thursday for submissions to continue. Mr. Silvera pleaded guilty in the Home Circuit Court yesterday. He made another appearance today. His attorney, King's Counsel Peter Champagny, has declined to comment. Director of Public Prosecutions, Claudette Thompson, also told the media that the matter is still only part heard. The 52-year-old businessman was charged with the murder of Mrs. Silvera in January 2024. She was found dead in their Stony Hill St. Andrew home on November 10, 2023. She was initially believed to have died from natural causes, but an autopsy performed 3 weeks later revealed that she sustained bullet wounds with 3 bullet fragments recovered from her body. Mr. Silvera was arrested and charged on January 18 in 2024 after ballistics tests linked his licensed firearm to the killing. He has remained in custody since.
So that is background and also what happened today in the courts. Go ahead, Obi.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and we're opine on that scenario. What I'm talking about is really just the fact that there is a provision in the gun court law or act that distinctly point out our gun issue, gun related is should be
Obi, you're on speaker. Obi, on speaker.
You hearing me better now?
Yeah, man, take us off the speaker. Go ahead, yeah.
All right. So, as I was saying, that it is about how the case is handled. So, a gun case is supposed to be tried in camera, meaning that it is just a judge alone and not in the open court, like, for example, what we saw with the cartel case or recently the case with Donnelly concerning Donnelly Donaldson with Maitland.
Yeah.
And to hear an attorney, a senior journalist, basically put the two of them in the same and said that, listen, we had case like Vibes cartel case that was tried in the public. I'm saying that I don't know how she gets it so wrong. And again, as I said today, and some people say, boy, I am overrating Diane. But Diane is somebody that I have great respect for.
Me too.
I don't know how she get that so wrong.
But we are all human beings, Obi, and prone to make mistakes. So maybe she made a mistake in that one because the Vibes cartel case was not a gun case, neither the Maitland case. Because nobody know how the people that they have been charged for died. There's no body. And therefore, you couldn't classify those as a case involving firearm.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Colin. So, we kind of segue. But back to the persons who are really suffering, Colin. And I feel your pain.
And hold on. And with the person suffering down on the West, now is a serious time that Jamaica is suffering maybe one of the greatest cold front we have ever suffered of all times, and that one more is on the way for Friday. How these people who are living under tarpaulin, who are living in a car, whose roofs are not properly put back, how they are managing.
That's the point I made. And that's the point, Colin. Hold on. Colin?
Yeah, Obi, we're hearing you.
Yeah, and that's the point I was making, sharing the scenario with my listener who called me this morning to say, listen, he couldn't sleep. And let me just pause to big up JR. JR, I maximum respect. You have a heart, because while he, Colin, in a dry, comfortable place, he was thinking about his brothers and sisters. Our brothers and sisters who are languishing, and you tell me, say, Andrew Holness, who is in his mansion. I want to give him mansion. But you gotta tell me, say you can't have a little heart and care and move
Then Obi,
with a locket.
your brethren, the man, Pernell Charles Jr. said, listen, man, we're moving fast. We're moving faster than other countries who have had similar disaster. It was a category 5. That the man has said.
Oh my God. You know, Colin, I usually call my friend Pernell. My friend Pernell and get him very, very easy. Pernell, I've not been talking to me for some time. Pernell, I'm a brethren, you know. I mean real brethren, you know.
Yes.
Pernell Jr., as a matter of fact, Senior Charles is my real brethren too. Senior Charles is a man who call me from time to time and congratulate me on the work of me I do, you know, Colin.
How I say, yeah?
Yes, man. Yeah, man. I'm at my house on a Sunday and Pernell Charles Senior called me and said, boy, listen, a whole heap of we are listening to you, you know. A whole heap of we are listening to you. I'm congratulating you on the work that you're doing. Yeah, man. So listen. It's really a sad state of affair right here in Jamaica land we love, Colin. And you see, you made a point over and over, Colin, that is not about money. Early in the piece, days after, and I would be happy if you play back that clip, where no less a person than the Prime Minister come and enumerate the figure, the amount of money that we got, not to include, this money not include the 3.5, the 3.6 billion US dollars that we're getting in loan. It doesn't include the donation that we get in terms of gift from the into the disaster fund. Not that. We're talking about but through insurance and other things and the disaster fund that the government had in place. Right? And the government had $115 billion and treating the Jamaican people like this.
Yeah, man, they don't care.
But you know, Colin, again, we call on the opposition from time to time, and they have their work to do. But this evening, I am calling on the Jamaican people. The Prime Minister of Jamaica and the government are just mere custodians of your funds. Need to go out and
in the statement on page 5
that the government treats you no better. And don't come with this kind of pitching tent down there and offering you guys crumb.
Real crumbs, brother. Real crumbs they're offering.
You know, Colin. I grew up in a big family, right? My parents had a lot of us, and all of us have our friends, right? So whole heap of food normally cook in my yard.
Yes.
Because everybody who pass through that gate have to eat. So I grew up with a heart of compassion, and I'm not seeing any of that being displayed by the government of Jamaica at this time. And a government first responsibility is to show compassion. And that is one of the reasons, Colin, why we differentiate a business from a government. While a business only concern is about the bottom line.
Profit.
A government has much, much more than that. And that duty of care is to its people. And we're not seeing that duty of care being displayed by this wholeness-led administration. I'm afraid.
Let me allow the people to hear what Andrew Holness said in the parliament.
Madam Speaker, even before the announcement of the substantial international financing package, we already had in place a multi-layered disaster risk financing framework, which was the product of years of strategic planning, disciplined financial management, and proactive investment in resilience. This framework enabled rapid early response and the immediate mobilization of liquidity to meet the most urgent needs following Hurricane Melissa within days. Jamaica activated several instruments across our risk financing architecture. We had approximately Jamaican 5.3 billion in the contingencies fund and 1 billion in the National Natural Disaster Reserve Fund. We received US 91 million from the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, CRIF, one of the largest payouts ever made in the region. And then we had the US $150 million under the catastrophe bond, triggered immediately based upon parametric thresholds. In addition, we had US $285 million available through the IDB's contingent credit facility for rapid liquidity support, which was upsized to $300 million, and US $42 million scalable to US $84 million available on request under the World Bank's catastrophe deferred drawdown option. Madam Speaker, this totals approximately US $662 million in liquidity that was available almost immediately following the hurricane. This is the very definition of planning, preparedness, and responsible governance. Our multi-layered approach ensured that Jamaica did not wait
Hold on.
helplessly.
So there you have it. Man say immediately after the hurricane.
You have the calculator there, Colin?
Yeah, man.
Do the conversion.
It's about $106 billion that. $106 billion. Because it said him have 662 million US. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Multiply by, at that time, the dollar was about 160. So call it 160. Yeah, it's it's 105 billion. Call it $106 billion.
Roughly 106 billion.
$106 billion immediately after the hurricane. And then you have some clowns, you have some idiots, some buffoon and duns out there tell people that they must wait because the government have no money, where the government must get money from. Joe Bruni.
And it begs the question, Colin. What is the government led by Andrew Hollis? What are they doing with this money and what they propose to do with it? Because it is not being used to benefit the people.
Well, I don't know if you hear the fiscal commissioner said that there's going to be about a $80 billion shortfall in revenue because of what the damage done by the hurricane to the tourism sector. That was out today. So yes. I don't know if the government is going to use that to support the budget. They tabled the fourth estimate of expenditure in the fourth supplementary budget in the parliament today again.
But remember now, Colin, that the 3.6 billion, that money can use for budgetary support. So that shortfall will be able to make up there. This money that come in, that in itself is relief for the hurricane scenario. We want to know, will it be spent to basically rehabilitate the people, and also?
Well,
that's my point of contention.
$10 billion out, you think they're going to spend anymore?
10 billion.
10 billion they give the people. You think they're going to spend anymore? Ralston Iman, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Well, go on, my brother.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're there.
Me and OB there at talk party. And I just remember that the fiscal commissioner said that $82 billion shortfall because of what Melissa did to the tourism sector.
Yeah, man, 80.5 billion.
80.5 billion. What does that mean for the Jamaican economy?
Well, that's a serious blow. That is why we are going to be running fiscal deficits going forward until the economy accelerates.
So is the government going to be using the $115 billion where they have sit down there, where them get to help the people out of the hurricane? Is they going to be using that for budgetary support?
Well, they must have to do that. What else they would have done with it?
But
they want to do that.
Is that what it's for, Rally? Or they can use it to do anything they want?
They can use it to do anything on them want, but they normally fund them operations through the budget. So I suppose they are waiting on the budget. And up till December, they were collecting 8.6 billion more in revenue than grants than they program for. Tax revenues were running at 5 billion ahead of budget up until December.
You mean December 2025 after the hurricane?
Yeah, yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
So they're getting money.
Mm-hmm. And up to that point, the impact of the hurricane has started taking hold on the revenues now.
Oh, so as it relates to December, the impact of the hurricane was not really felt on the revenue source from the government. But But you're saying January, February, March, we are going to feel it.
Yeah, that's what the fiscal commissioner said. Mm-hmm.
Obi?
Raleigh. Yeah. Hi, Raleigh. Wagwan.
Yes,
Raleigh. The 106 or 115 billion dollars that the government has under its control now that came in from the various measures that that Andrew Holness talked about, whether it is the cat ban, the CRIF, and we remind people that contrary to what the government trying to paint the picture as if they are the first to put in a measure to basically bring money in when we have disaster like that. The CRIF was there long before, and that was put in by Omar Davis, as you like to remind us, right? No, that said, the government has to wait, for example, for the budget, and so to basically start spending this money to alleviate the suffering and the pain that our brothers and sisters are facing. We see here is another disaster upon them, a cold front.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have to wait. The minister just tabled the fourth supplementary estimate where she added 14 billion to the budget.
And she also said that 400 million going to the health sector again, Raleigh.
To the Minister of Health, yeah, man.
Yeah. Christopher Tufton, I just said it a while ago, is the worst minister Jamaica has ever had in its history. You know anybody worse than him, Raleigh?
No, I agree. She have been fired a long time ago.
Obi, you know anybody worse than Chris Tufton? Obi?
No, I don't. And he's indeed a major disappointment to a lot of us. And you know what? You know why Chris is such a disappointment to Colin?
No.
And Raleigh? He is shameless.
Yeah.
He is shameless. Anybody who examines themselves and look at the record, the very spotty record that Chris Tufton has, certainly you would be some self-retrospection and basically say, no, sir, me can't stand it. No less a person than Gordon Robinson enumerated this in our Peace on Sunday. Right? In the Sunday, you know.
Raleigh, in any other self-respecting country, Chris Tufton as a minister with all these blunders, what would happen?
He would have gone already. Maybe in some place he would have gone to prison.
And maybe in some place it would be neck.
He would have get worse than that. If he would have to Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin, he would have get dispatched long time.
What about if he was in Singapore? What would happen?
Same problem. You don't get a prison sentence.
So why is Jamaica so reluctant with this kind of rubbish? Why is Jamaica?
I tell you, it's a very important point, you know. The followership, the people in Jamaica are not business with nothing except music and weed and rum and boom and hype and party and gun. That is why they're not business with what take place at the state level. There's no sense of nationhood. Every man is a hustler. So every man has a boy, I wish him could have get some of them money there for tech. So there's no collective will against those things. So the man get over them things. That's simple. People.
Right.
Go ahead,
Ready?
Obi.
No. We understand and we recognize that Christopher is a very, very dogged person. He continued to dig his foot in even deeper and standing on solid ground. However, Christopher has a boss, and that boss is Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Isn't Prime Minister Andrew Holness, by virtue of his position of chief servant, has a responsibility to the Jamaican people to do something, take some action against Stockton?
Yeah, but the Prime Minister understands the Jamaican people, and the Jamaican people are not calling for any action from the Prime Minister. All a man like me and you and Obi and Lucius White, who them say are bad-minded people, hearing a mass uproar about that. People them still just accept it and go to the hospital and sit down in a chair and sit down in a corridor. Nobody now say the minister to get fired. So that's 5 or 7 people have said that in the country, so the Prime Minister knows the truth. Well, that's how like a bad-minded man. We can't just ignore it.
Raleigh. Well, on the Obi. Want to say good evening to Sister Patricia, Sister Tanya, Real Montego Bay, listening on Caribbean Radio, 97.9 HD4. You're listening to the Colin Bell Show. We're talking to Conrad O'Brien, talk show host on Sleek Radio, 93 FM, and Ralston Iman, talk show host on Power 106 from the RGR group. Now, gentlemen, Ralston, corruption in Jamaica, we've been talking about that ad nauseum. Every day we talk about the level of corruption. What kind of costs corruption is having on the country of Jamaica?
5% of GDP, which will be somewhere in the region of $170 billion thereabouts.
So corruption is costing the country 5% of its GDP. Jamaica's GDP is $20 billion US dollars. 5% of that is about 170 billion, you say?
Yeah, man.
Annual, is that annually?
Yeah, man.
Annually.
Jamaican people.
So if
Yeah,
that,
man,
hold on, Raleigh. If that is annually, over the last 10 years of this administration, that's over $1 trillion.
Yeah, man.
So that's over 1 year budget. What could we have done with all of that, Ralston?
A whole lot of infrastructure and growth. If you cut corruption, the economy could have grown much, much faster. The standard of living everybody would have improved and all of them things. But the people of Jamaica are corrupt, so they don't have a problem with corruption. They're not telling that all the while, man. I see the polls, they will tell us that the people have no business with corruption. If the people have business with corruption, the corruption will stop already, man. But every man that's corrupt when I say, in which him could have get a breakthrough.
So every man want to be the friend of the people who are in leadership, who are rob the money.
Yeah, because I want to eat a food too.
Go ahead, Obi.
Yes, man.
And you know, Colin and Raleigh, let's bring the people. Let's bring the people into the picture. The fact of the matter, the 170 billion, 5% of budget in corruption. What it means that when you go to the hospital, you sit down in the hallway, crowded, with a man with his sore foot that so stink to the high heavens, can't get treatment. You also have poor schools, infrastructure, all sorts of ills that you see happening. That is what it is. Our people. So what you need to do is to make the connection, dot the I's, and see how corruption impacts you. But as Ralston said, you know, everybody wants their turn at the trump, so to speak. And that is the sad state of affair. But Raleigh, is there a bomb in Gilead?
Boy, I'm gonna say it now. We just, if you notice, said we are talking about these things in relation to tidy national affairs. We are a very small, not even just a minority, a small minority. So it is going to take a long time. If you notice that the corrupt forces are getting stronger and stronger, and the people are getting more penitent and accepting. So we have a long way to go.
Yeah, because Raleigh, we are seeing even institutions that supposed to should be immune from corruption, no filter in. You know, we are seeing where a lot of things in the police force, you know, people are being charged. We are seeing young doctors being caught up into the web of
cocaine
all
fine
sorts
at
of
a
things.
police
Yeah, man.
department.
Yeah, man, the thing getting more corrupt.
Right? At CETA.
More
You know,
corrupt.
I tell you something. I was in the bellies of the organization, so to speak. And Colin and Shaka, Colin and Wally, listen, I don't know if I want to go there, but I tell you, there are senior people in the police force who are indeed not happy with a lot of things that are going on. As a matter of fact, I was told by senior operatives in the police force that there's no guess, no but, no if, no maybe. There is a distinct order being given to analyze young men. And the person actually told me the two sections within the force who are mandated so to do. I don't want to go too far.
All right. Yeah.
No,
Raleigh, let's talk to the people about why is it that our hospitals are in the condition they are in? Why is it there's a shortage of doctors? Why is it the nurses at Cornwall Regional Hospital are protesting? Why is it the University Hospital has been flagged by the Auditor General and the country continues as if there's nothing wrong? The people don't care. But why the economy facilitate all of this, Rally?
Simply because of corruption and the people do not care. So you have 40% of the people who vote and then take a tribal approach to corruption. And you have 60% who just not business with nothing. So the man them just know say we can't do anything we want, no, because it's just gonna be a 9-day wonder. The Auditor General can shut up our mouth. Yeah, man, I'll tell the Auditor General say nah, take the talk from her. And the same minister who asked for resign, back the man here. Don't stand by and tell the Auditor General to go already and tough down back her.
Yes,
back him.
yes. Remember that in the parliament.
Yep, so I tell the people of Jamaica, say you contribute to your own destruction and the bad living because you now come out against corruption, because that is why the country in such a deep hole. A whole lot of money has been misallocated. It's not a shortage of money. The money has been misallocated and you just sit down and do business with nothing. So until you start business with something, your life now gonna change.
Before you come in, Obi, Raleigh, this morning, I think the fiscal commissioner said that tourism is the biggest foreign exchange earner in Jamaica. Is that correct?
Yeah, man, because remittances are not earnings. You might get the right technical things. So
Okay. So remittance is not earnings. I agree.
Charity. No, you not earn it. A charity.
But we get the most foreign exchange from remittance, but it's not earning.
From remittances.
But Raleigh, with everything that is around us, how is Jamaica going to grow? How the economy is going to grow, Raleigh, with everything that is happening or not happening?
We can't grow unless we fix those problems. So the people have to become more participatory and stop just sit down on the corner and say no business with nothing. We never grow, and we never grow in an equitable way until people must say, this is our company and we are a shareholder, and Prime Minister, you are the CEO, we don't like that and we want this and we want that and we want that. As long as the people now make no demands and just take whatever come them way, the country never grow in an equitable way. Simple. So the people have the answer, them go to the voting.
Obi, come in.
No, I agree. The democracy as it is right now, the democracy as it is being held up by what Professor what's his name there? described as the lumpen proletariat. That is the people at the bottom. They are the one in the main who go out and vote in the main. They are the one who actually, they're out there as poll clerk, as runners, all of that. What happened, Colin? The middle class, the lumpen middle class and the lumpen bourgeoisie, they basically remove themselves from the system and allow that group there to be out there, and that group at the bottom, they are basically busy just trying to eke something out. They are afraid to basically raise their voice. The Jamaica usually have what is called a progressive middle class that would help to calibrate the system. They have been missing in action, and until we see that middle class come back into the scenario, along with the fourth estate, and also the regular man, the regular Joe and Jane, willing to be a part of the system and push back and say, no, enough is enough. Because when I go to the hospital, when I take my little child to KPH or to Children's Hospital, when I see that my child should have been taken care of, but one piece of equipment that could be ordinary obtained for $4 million, it costs $34 million. Until we understand those things, Colin, and start to dot the I's and cross the T and make the linkages, then we go cook. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to grow. And a man basically, I got to say, listen, but you know, me can buy my own 2 pound of flour, my own 2 pound of chicken back in me good.
So, Raleigh, you talk about the people and who went out to vote and who never voted. There's no general election that is due before 2030. What is going to happen to Jamaica then?
You just take what you get. As the man them tell you, September 3rd gone. So we just run things, just take what you get. So if you start come out and start make demands, and the opposition start make demands and the people start become supportive and I say, yeah, we're not in that, then you'll get all of that until the next September 3rd or whenever it is.
We like to blame the opposition, but as I asked Obi earlier, you are a part of the fourth estate. What role does the fourth estate have to play in all of this?
They have a great role to play, and you and I and Obi are playing that role. The university have a role to play, and we spoke with Professor Andre Harton today, and him saying disappointed the way some of my colleagues on campus are dealing with the thing, because they're not dealing with the thing. So we all have roles to play, and the opposition have a bigger role to play because 470,000 persons voted for them. They have 28 now. They are the ones who have to help with the mobilization of the people and do the kind of teaching that we are doing now to get the people to understand what the corruption means for them. Yep. So them have a big role to play. Them can't escape that role. Them bigger than everybody else.
But isn't it that the government also have a control over the people? Because anything the opposition said, the government is going to say that they are trying to disrupt governance.
Well,
because they are also saying that we, and the fact that we have a big overseas listeners, we also bringing down the country. And people then, because of those arguments, people are afraid to speak.
Well, the opposition can't come under that, because when the part of the opposition is to oppose and to oppose in a constructive way. So the opposition have to be teaching and mobilizing the people about how the country is supposed to run. Them can't shut from that responsibility and say, boy, the government have a say. Yeah. The government have always said that, but you have to make the people know so you're up on the right grounds by teaching them. Yep.
And call it as you see it.
There's no excuse for that. The opposition wants to teach the people in a constructive way, so them can't escape that.
Go ahead, Obi.
Colin, I'm going to just make reference to 2 scenarios in recent Jamaica. When the Jamaica Labour Party was in opposition, One when PJ Patterson was in office. I don't remember exactly what it was. If it was a gas argument about something to do with gas. And PJ basically had to step back. And PJ said this was the new Jamaica in terms of piece of paper pushing out and articulating position. Though that was basically triggered by the then opposition, right? And I'll go to the second one. When Dr. Peter Phillips was Minister of Finance, and he came up with a very creative way of earning some additional revenue has to do with the bank. And I don't remember if it was 1 cent in every $1,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You remember? You remember that?
Andrew want to say we lock down the country.
You heard Ralston Obi?
No, what you said, Raleigh?
Andrew Olney said he would lock down the country.
Remember, I was a part of that team. I was a part of the EPOC team. Yeah, so that's true.
Absolutely.
So
and those things come about. And the government has to. The government had to beat a hasty retreat because what they did, they were able, whether it was as a result of the fourth estate was biased to the opposition then, but they had the fourth estate with them. They had people with them. They had civil society with them and so on. So the opposition must find that creative ingredients, so they get the people with them, they get civil society with them.
But gentlemen,
some pressure on the fourth estate as well.
But gentlemen,
to say, listen, stand back on the block.
But gentlemen, would you blame the opposition for saying that? Listen, the people don't care. The people showed us on September 3rd, and Ralston, you've been saying it, that the people not care, people not business.
Well, the opposition has to get the people to care. The opposition are still out of power forever and ever, and the country will go down the drain. Just as an addition, when the JLP wrecked the country and we created EPOC, they opposed all of the things that we were doing that they are benefiting from now and taking the credit for. When we were doing Petro-Carib, Favor Williams, Hardly Shaw, Andrew Wallace, everybody opposed it, Arbin Hill and Sarah Robishwado. When we were navigating the IMF test, 10 consecutive tests, the JLP's argument to the people of the country was that I would rather pass IMF test, I would rather pass the people's test. So nobody come with that. The opposition, they can't forget them things. They are joke business that.
Absolutely, Raleigh. And if we want to go further, we could take it even further. When the JUTC was created, the opposition, the then opposition, I think Eddie was the leader at that time. He fought it when PJ Patterson, people like Kingsley Thomas and so on, came up with the grand idea of highway, which now allowed Jamaica to look like somewhere and to help with production. That was also fought. So every progressive thing that you can think of, and if we want to go further, the Lone National Stadium that we have in Jamaica, the history shows that the Jamaica Labour Party then was against it. Right? And the things that we are asking the opposition now to basically push the government on are not things that are basically to the detriment of Jamaica. It is things to basically ensure that Jamaica is a better place and really become the place to live, raise families, and do business.
All right, gentlemen. Gentlemen, I think we're going to leave it there. I have one more question. Why is nobody calling? I'm not talking you, Raleigh. I'm not talking me. I'm not talking Obi. Why we don't hear the opposition calling for the resignation of Chris Tufton, Xavier Miller, and Andrew Wellness?
Okay, all right. So that answers the question that you have been asking about their effectiveness. Simple.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We're going to leave it right there.
All right,
God bless you.
Blessings. Conrad O'Brien, Ralston Iman. I tell you something. We're in a serious dilemma. Serious dilemma. Some people don't want to admit it. Some people don't want us to talk about it. But the truth must be revealed. Not going other way. The truth have to be revealed. We have to just say it as it is. Last week, Monday, and we've been talking about the opposition and what they have been doing, how they've been dealing with the issues, and how they have been tackling the government. Now, hold on. What is this?
The roof program, which seems to be the main housing repair and recovery program announced. And it's roughly 60 million.
This look like Standing Finance Committee.
10 billion Jamaican dollars. And that represents less than 10% of that less than 1% of that $6.7 billion funding envelope that has been identified. So where do you see the bulk of those resources going, of that 6.7 billion? What areas do you anticipate that financing over the time?
So this financing from the international financial institutions must go towards reconstruction, restoration. It must go towards building resilience so that the next time around, God forbid, we're not thrown back in the way that we were through Melissa. So you will see the bulk of this going into capital spending over the next 5 years or so. Obviously we're borrowing and we have to make the borrowing count. We have to make the borrowing go towards capital spending in water infrastructure, in road development, in things that will produce growth for the Jamaican economy. You saw early right after the aftermath of the hurricane, there were a lot of resources dedicated to the relief effort to get people food, shelter, to ensure that they could begin to get on their feet again. But we have moved out of the relief stage, or are moving out of the relief stage into reconstruction and recovery, building in resilience as we go along, so that these loans can produce the kinds of investments that will lead to stronger GDP growth.
Minister, thank you so much. The opposition have no additional questions for you at this time. It being now 7:18, we have 2 minutes to wrap up committee.
So hold on.
Otherwise,
we never hear this in live.
Back to the House and back to committee. So in the interest of time, I will love to take us very quickly through closing off committee. Do we have any amendments, Minister?
She said the opposition have no more question.
Yes, madam. You are doing beautifully.
I thank you.
However, in the interest of time,
I will be ending soon.
I am asking you to please wrap up.
I was looking forward to
Thank you
coming back.
so much, Ras.
I knew that is right.
Minister Grange, a short closure immediately thereafter.
Yes, I mean
thank you. Go ahead, member.
I thank you. I thank you, madam. But let me just close, and I'm happy to see member from, is it West Rural, St. Andrew. There was once the Olympics with 3 countries in the 200-meter final. 3 Jamaicans, 3 Americans, and 2 USSR. One of those persons was our member sitting right here, who was in that final. And why I quickly made that observation, is because we have seen the constant flow of athletic prowess coming from that time to know that we have the twins and Sharika, but have we seen an equal flow coming from the entertainment practitioners that were once so dominant to the current set, if they are equally dominating global conversation and global space?
So
I pray that we ensure.
that sounds like Damian Crawford. I saw a standing finance committee, and you know when I see that I get very excited. But I think we're going to have to find what went on there so we can bring that to you. If you're just joining us, this is the Colin Bell Show. We are live on Caribbean Radio, 97.9 HD4. And if you don't get HD radio yet, you need to get it, because that is where the thing at now, you know. That is where the thing at now, my people. Yes. And, you know, we have to ensure that we flow with the times. Yeah, man. We have to flow with the times. Let me take you to hallelujah. So this is Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Is this Monday? I'm looking for, yes, here we go. Because we spoke to the opposition spokesman on finance last week, and we have to bring back that for the people on Caribbean
Would
Radio.
have a material impact on exports. I don't think so.
What are your major
generally people, you know, for most exports, they tend to be priced, you know, well in advance. So even if it revalues to 158 now, many of those contracts would probably have been done 3 months prior. So they're probably working with, you know, 161 pricing for those things.
What are your major concerns, Julian, with how the government is running the country's economy at this time after Hurricane Beryl? All right, so let me just talk to my people on Portland Spice TV. Portland Spice TV, big up on yourself. And of course, we want to just take the time to say thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to all the people for tuning in this evening. As I said earlier, we're going to leave you at 7 o'clock. It's now 24 minutes after 7. We want to thank you for your time. Thank you for the people in the chat room. Join us tomorrow evening. We're going to have Omar Newell. Omar Newell is going to be with us tomorrow evening. He has tabled a bill in the parliament. And of course, that bill is about protecting our infrastructure as it relates to telecommunication, as it relates to the GPS, and of course see those as national security issues. So we're going to talk to him tomorrow to hear what it is that he's bringing to the parliament. And it's nice to see new members in the parliament bringing bills forward to the parliament. I want to big him up. Omar Newell is going to be with us tomorrow evening. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace. Until we meet again tomorrow evening, this has been the Colin Bell Show. Thank you for joining us, brother. Sisters, one love.